Alright, that's what we're going to be learning in this basic introduction to Travis picking. We're going to start by getting our fingers on everything, then we'll play through it real slow, and then we'll eventually be working it up to full tempo, which will be 150 beats per minute. So Travis picking was invented by Merle Travis, and one of the kind of distinct stylistic features of Travis picking is this bass line, the steady bass line played by the thumb. Merle Travis and a lot of Travis pickers use a pick on their right hand. It's a banjo pick that they put on their thumb to play these bass patterns with their thumb. I am not going to use one. I don't use one when I play, but if you have one and you want to use that, you certainly can. Just pop it right on your thumb and play everything the same way that I'm doing it in this tutorial. So in this first tutorial, we're just going to leave our left hand on the same chord and we're going to get our right hand picking pattern down. Now, like I said, this is an introduction to the style, so normally we'll be using the thumb, finger 1, finger 2, and finger 3 on our right hand, and we'll of course use all 6 strings. But for this tutorial, just to kind of get our heads around what this style is like, we're going to limit ourselves to just these low 5 strings, and we're only going to be using our thumb, our first finger, and our second finger on our right hand. And so the first thing that we're going to want to do is get our left hand on this chord. It's just a variation of a G chord, 3rd fret of low E, 2nd fret of A, open D, open G, and 3rd fret of D. We'll start by getting this thumb pattern down. So we're going to have this chord on our left hand, and we're just going to do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the 3rd fret of low E, the open D string, 2nd fret of A, back to the D string, and that just repeats. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Let's go even a little bit slower if you're struggling with that. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. All right, the next thing we have to do is get our pointer finger and our second finger in the mix here. We're going to assign the pointer finger for this song to the G string, and our second finger is going to be assigned to that 3rd fret of B. And so we're going to be adding it in on the and of the beat. So on the downbeats, we're using the thumb. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Then on the ands, we're going to alternate between the G string and the B string. So here's how it looks really slowly. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And every second time we get through that pattern, we're going to leave out that last and, which would be on the B string, so that we can transition chords when we get into this next tutorial. So here's that one time through the progression, which is actually 2 measures, one time, which is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Let's repeat it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. All right, when you're ready, we'll start playing through it a little bit faster. Another interesting note about this style is usually it's not going to be straight. It's going to be swung. So a straight beat would sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's not really in the style. The style is more swung, which is more like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. It's more of that gallopy swung style. So let's play through it just a little bit faster a couple times, keeping that swung rhythm in mind. Okay, so that is actually going to be the right hand progression with those exact strings and that exact same pattern for this whole song that we're going to learn. We're just going to be changing the chords starting with this next tutorial here. So play that nice and slow, get it really comfortable under your fingers, and when you're ready, move on to this next tutorial and we'll start changing up the chords. Now we're going to turn that picking pattern, that exercise that we learned in the first tutorial, into a song by changing some of the chords that we're using. We're going to start on that G chord just like we learned it. Then we're going to switch over to an E minor 7. So our ring finger stays down right where it was, 3rd fret of B. Then we've got the open G string. Then we've got the 2nd fret of D. Then we've got the 2nd fret of A. And the open low E string. And the right hand picking pattern is going to stay exactly the same. Let's slow that way down one time. Here's how it looks. Then we're going to move up to a D over F sharp, which is again, ring finger is going to stay right here on the 3rd fret of B. Then we'll get that middle finger on the 2nd fret of G. Open D string, open A string, pointer finger will go on the 2nd fret of low E. And again, exact same pattern with that right hand. So it will be like this. Let's try that one more time right in this position. All right, and then we're going to go back to the G. So we're going to do the picking pattern one time through on the G, one time through on the E minor 7, one time through on the D over F sharp, then back to the G for one time through. Then we repeat the whole thing starting with the G again. So each chord gets played for 2 measures, then we change chords, making it a total of an 8-bar repeating or looping pattern that we're going to play as many times as we want to. It's a great pattern to play with the metronome and just really get this style under your fingers. So let's play through it a couple times at a nice slow tempo, and then we'll slowly be working it up to speed until we're ready to play with the metronome. All right, let's try it again, going a little bit faster. Keep in mind that we've got that looping feature on the video player at 6stringcountry.com, so you can take any one of these tempos that I played any of this stuff at for this whole tutorial and just loop it over and over and over again as many times as you need until you're really comfortable at that tempo. When you're ready to move on, we'll go a little bit faster. All right, again, go through these tempos as many times as you need it until you're really comfortable at that speed before getting it faster. And if you need to, even start setting a metronome. We're going to do our metronome at 150 beats per minute, which is what we'll consider full tempo, but you can keep going higher than that if you really want to. So maybe start your metronome around 70 or 80 and then slowly, 5 or 10 BPM at a time, just be working that up to tempo. Here's how it sounds with the metronome. 1, 2, 3.